Hello guys, my name is Dimebot. Welcome to Cobalt. This is the newest game from Oxeye Games, published by Mojang, who you may know from a little game called Minecraft. So we're going to take a look at it. It's just come out on Steam. Did a little stream on it today. First off, let's take a look at the options. You'll see that I'm navigating with a controller. There is no mouse support in these menus, so I would be navigating with my keyboard if not. Let's jump into the settings. You've got sound, applause, music, graphics, what display you want it on, a good selection of resolutions here, display mode, full screen, borderless or windowed, big picture for Steam, VSync, and then a frames counter. This menu's awful. This is a 2D game, but the way it's laid out, as with all the menus in this game, is absolutely terrible. Yeah, not a fan. Also, there was a bug we found on day one. You could not change your resolution or display mode and have them apply unless you created a profile. So, yeah, let's take a look at the controls. So, there are multiple schemes available. You cannot rebind your controller. So, I'm going to admit I'm not a fan of not being able to rebind controls, but it does work. There is a tutorial here, so if you want to know how to play, move left and right, jump. There are 19 pages of this tutorial. There is an in-game tutorial, but some of this stuff with the weapons is not fully explained, like the damage numbers and stuff can be a little opaque, so rather than having a whole bunch of text, it would have been nice if there had been a little easier way to access it in-game. The tutorial that the game includes is actually fairly well done, I will give it that. You notice there's Play Online, Play Game, Story, Arcade, and Tutorial, and Steam user maps. This does have Steam Workshop support. It does include an editor, so that's always really nice. We'll jump into Arcade real quick. You'll notice this little thing right here. You can do some local co-op. It's asking the other person to play with the keyboard, so let's do a challenge. Combat, let's do speed. And we'll kind of talk about the basics of the game real quick. So, you move around. I'm not going to actually worry about it too much with the time. You move around with the left stick. You can roll with the left trigger. Well, you could have if I hadn't screwed up my controls. We're going to actually have to back out and reset my controls real quick because I have completely borked them up by showing you guys that. Don't you just love it? Edit controls, triggers, roll. That's what I'm looking for. Let's try that again. So rolling is a big mechanic in this game. So you want to slide down a hill. I'm doing that simply by pressing down as I land. As you can see, you could gain a fair amount of momentum. Rolling does not reduce your speed, so it adds an interesting little bit of tech to the movement in this game. Now, I'm not very good at it, I will say that. You can also kick in midair. And this kind of plays into the main gameplay. So let's jump out and go to the story mode real quick. We'll continue. I'm 7% in from the stream today. Here you are on your ship. Now this is your hub. Here you can equip and unequip basic bits of gear. Here we have, you can inspect them. This is where you can see the stats. When you inspect each item in the game, you can also see the stats. So like I said, it's a little opaque sometimes. You need to get used to what it's actually trying to tell you, but it's certainly better than what they have on that menu where it just lists everything and you don't really have an idea. So you can see roll, deflect, and I will get into that in a minute, as well as top speed, roll speed, chrono power, resist rad, resist damage. So a whole bunch of stuff. You have a thrown weapon, a ranged weapon, which I have no ammo for, and a melee weapon, which is currently my shield and my Viking sword. Let's go to... Let's go here. This is an area I've already cleared, so this won't be too spoilery for people. except I can't go back. Alright, let's go right here. And we'll teleport down from our ship. So the basic story of the game is that you are trying to find out what happened to a human colony that was on this planet. There appears to be nothing out here, but I can show off one thing. So if you have a melee weapon equipped and you roll and immediately punch, you can gain a little bit of extra height that way. And this has you trying to find different codecs for, or sigils or encryptions, I can't remember what they're called, for your ship, or for this monolith to unlock them. So let's return to the ship. Yes, we'll lose on save progress, whatever. We'll actually head back here. Take a look at some combat. So here we are at the most recent checkpoint that I got to. You'll notice every so often a slow-mo effect. This game relies heavily on slow-mo. And it is not afraid to throw large groups of enemies at you at once. There is no health bar, which I find to be incredibly aggravating because until you learn what the visual cues on your character are that indicate getting close to death, you're going to find yourself dying a lot, like I just did. Now, there's a generous respawn system. Wherever you save, the game will automatically let you respawn. I don't know what that horrible thing is, but it needs to die. Except it's going to kill me. You will die frequently and a lot. I'm part of the problem that I have with this game. I will get to the graphics in a minute because I don't care for the art style a ton. But one of the problems I have with this game is there is a lot of layered complexity to the combat mechanics. But despite that, I never actually feel like I'm completely in control of what's happening in any given situation, which is not optimal for a 2D platformer and looter that focuses on combat so heavily. You know, I'll do a slide, what I think will be a slide or a roll. You know, roll, let's say I wanted to slide down here and then roll and attack. Well, sometimes it'll seem to go off just fine, and sometimes it won't at all. And there seems to be no feedback or no indication as to why that is. And with the time to kill being so short for most of the enemies versus you, at least in the early stages of the game, I don't feel like you have a good opportunity to actually get used to the combat before the game punishes you. This enemy might be a good chance for us to show off one of the mechanics of the game. So you notice these boxes that come up anytime a projectile is fired at me. If you roll, you can deflect them back, unless they hit your feet, in which case they still do damage. So it's an interesting mechanic. It will cause slowdown, and there are things that will interfere with it, such as scope shots that the enemy can pull off. You see I was able to dodge that attack there with the slow-mo as well. And I have blinded myself. Fantastic. Throwing objects are determined, the momentum and arc is determined by your own momentum and arc, so it's a bit of a physics element to that. And I've died again. So you can kind of, if you're getting used to the controls, you can kind of manipulate where your grenades, etc. are going to go. Now, rolling into people seems to do more damage. I have not figured out 100% if that's true or not. It just feels like it to me. And you can also jump on them and then do your kick move for extra damage. The kick also serves as a type of double jump. We're going to be seeing the same scene a lot. So let's talk about the graphics a little bit. A lot of people like the graphic style of this game. I like the art style that the main character is rendered in. I feel that the backgrounds go with it extremely poorly. The backgrounds to me look like something I might have seen on a Flash game on Newgrounds, say in 2006 or 7. That's a purely personal, subjective thing, but as far as most of the background art assets in the game go, I don't actually care for them that much. I do like the animations on the character, on the characters there. Well done. they suit the theme of the game. They're cute. They have this kind of otherworldly vibe to them, and I think they're well done. To me, it's a major clash with what they actually have going on with the environments. So it makes it kind of hard, at least for me, on my eyes when I try to play this game. I don't feel like the art style is coherent at all. There we go. And here's the save point. There was a stealth section earlier in the game, and I found that to be a lot of fun. You had to find the right doors, find the right way around all the various enemies, and it was fairly enjoyable. Don't forget that there is armed combat in this game. I just simply don't have any ammo for my gun right now. If I did, I would probably be able to get that item up there. You notice that I just crushed myself. There are some physics objects in the game as well. So that's kind of a look at the single player. It promises a cosmic campaign, whatever that is. You can knock grenades back. I do appreciate that. Anything that you can roll into can be interacted with in a combat manner, which is interesting. It offers up a lot of possibilities for combat, but once again, I feel like the combat is not completely under your control. I often feel like what I'm doing on my controller is not executing into the game. Let's take a look at the multiplayer. Let's go with casual. Let's go with Team Strike so that I join the best game. You can hop right in. So here we go. There are characters that you can have for the multiplayer. In fact, let's see if we can... don't think we can do anything about that from here. I would like to actually join a team. Let's join green. There you go, War Sniper, Heavy Defender. So you have various classes you can use. We'll go with Machine, Heavy Armor, and Firepower. In combat, you can, as you roll, you'll see that your aim changes. And if you jump and press the aim button, it will lock onto things for you. So there's a lot going on with this game combat-wise, and I will say that in multiplayer, I found matchmaking to be fairly quick, fairly simple, and usually I get a fairly decent game out of it. I still kind of feel, as I said, like I don't really know what's going on with the combat as far as where my inputs are going, or, you know, I just don't feel like what I'm telling the game to do is what it's actually doing, and that's a major problem for me in a game that focuses on combat. And I'm kind of beating that particular dead horse, but it's a major, major problem for me with this game. Let's repair. And I'm dead. You can see the games are divided up into rounds. This is round 5 of 20, which is actually quite a long match. So I'm probably going to be that guy and dip out in a minute or two, but I want to make sure you guys got a look at all the modes in this game, save for the editor, which I've not had time to dig into. So I think we're just waiting on them. I do like that each class has its own stats, its own specialty. It adds a bit of depth to the multiplayer. It makes your character choice actually matter. And it makes each class feel unique. Well, let's go for one more round real quick. So, bottom line on this game, this is a $20 game. Do I feel like this game is worth it? I do not. As I said, I have an issue with the art style. I don't think that the combat is as deep and responsive as I have read. I don't feel like I'm in control of it. I don't like the way it controls. It feels like I'm constantly in a slippery slope towards dying because the game is not responding to what I'm telling it to do. I think it's a neat concept. I love the idea of the slow-mo, and I think that it could be a really interesting feature if they could maybe tighten up the controls some. So, personally, I'm going to say give this one a pass. You may like the art style and you may like the controls. That's purely subjective. That's what this channel is here for. I would love to hear from you in the comments. If you disagree, the like and dislike buttons are there. But as for me, this will probably be my last play session of Cobalt. Thank you for watching, guys. Hit that subscribe button. My name is Dinebot. Later. Like what you saw? Click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Or click on one of these other videos.